What's up, everyone? Welcome to Search Hunt. What? Fuck, really? Okay. What's up, everyone? What's up, everyone? Welcome to Sir Hunt's Reviews. My name's Mark, and in this video, we're going to be discussing Qyburn and what he may do in Game of Thrones Season 8. I am joined here by the lovely, the wonderful Robert from In Deep Geek. Before we get started, can you tell everyone where we can find you at, Robert?
Hi, everyone. It is an honor to be here on your channel, Mark. My channel is In Deep Geek. If you want in-depth analysis and just conversation, discussion about Game of Thrones, Westworld, and more, check out my channel, In Deep Geek. Or if you want, I've got a new channel. Sorry to take up the time. New channel, The Well-Told Tale. If you want the best science fiction, fantasy, speculative fiction stories, audio narrated to you, go check out The Well-Told Tale.
All those links can be found down below in the description, so make sure you go and check those out. So starting out, Qyburn is an unethical former maester who was thrown out of the order for conducting illegal human experiments on dead bodies. And live ones as well. I'm actually reading this straight off the Game of Thrones wiki page, which is linked down below in the description as well, so you can go and check that out if you want to follow along. Qyburn held to the belief that the death of a few men justified the knowledge for saving more lives. So while his unethical experiments may have led to him being reviled, they also made him arguably one of the most talented healers in all of Westeros. This is actually how he saves the mountain. So Robert, just what were your initial impression of Qyburn when we see him first off in season 3 of Game of Thrones?
Yeah, so he's an ex-maester, and that's the really important thing about him is he was a maester. He's got all of that knowledge, but he did things they did not want him to do. Now, this means that he is outside of their moral code. He is willing to do things that they do not want him to do, and he is also, as we see over the course of the next 2, 3, 4 seasons, the kind of guy who's a bit of a social climber. He will attach himself to whoever is the best person to get him to the place that he wants to be. And for me, those are the two really important things. He's very clever and very learned, and also he's a bit of a social climber.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I think like to the average show watcher, when you're viewing him, because he does have a few scenes, but for the most part, his role hasn't been really defined in the end game up until like the end of season 6 and then definitely in season 7. So you kind of get the impression that he's loyal to Cersei, but initially, no, like you said, he's more of a social climber. He's jumping on the back of the next person who can benefit him. And I think his main goal is to just be able to learn as much as possible and to continue his experiments. And Cersei's allowed him to do this. So this is why he's remained loyal, and I did air quotations to her. But skipping ahead here a little bit, the last time we see him in season 7, Qyburn is present when Cersei holds court with Euron Greyjoy. Qyburn also attends court when Cersei addresses the Lords of the Reach, with House Tyrell, basically the precursor to the Field of Fire 2.0. But one of the main things that I think we took away from season 7 is that his two biggest accomplishments for season 7 would be making this ballista for Cersei. And then also, I think we get a little bit of hint towards the end of the season when everyone's meeting in the Dragon Pit, when he picks up the hand and sort of just has like that moment of him, examining the arm of the White that, had his hand removed. I think what we're going to see him do in this next season, in season 8, is going to be something along those lines. He's going to continue making enhancements to the weapons that he's provided to Cersei, but he's also going to be, he's got access to potentially a crap ton of dead animated creatures, and I think he may utilize some of that to maybe do something like, now I got to tread carefully here, which is why I'm fumbling for words, because I've done a Qyburn video in which I mentioned, a bunch of different theories on Qyburn, and I do want to discuss those in these videos, but I don't want this video to get taken down as well. So I'm trying to formulate the best way to say this theory without getting a bunch of people offended. So I think there's a possibility that Qyburn may, let's just say, lobotomize some of Cersei's closer house guards to make them more loyal to her. I did have a prediction that Jaime was going to go and take a portion of her army and go and head north to go and fight with Jon, because he's clearly upholding that promise that Cersei supposedly made at the end of season 7. So in doing so, Qyburn will discuss with Cersei, you know, we need to make these soldiers a little bit more obedient. They followed Jaime. That some of them may continue to desert you. Some of the ways that we can keep these guards loyal is by turning them more like the Mountain. And in doing so, they would get, I guess, undeadified. I don't know. What do you think about all that, Robert?
Yeah, so I think a couple of things. First, going back to the first thing you were saying about loyalty, he is not loyal to Cersei. Cersei thinks he is loyal to her. He is loyal to his work, and that is the thing that he's loyal to. If Cersei falls, he is going to take his work and he's going to go somewhere else. The only reason he's with her is because she provides him with the safety and all of the resources he needs. Now, going on to the main point you were saying there about what is he going to do about this? Yes, he is clearly infatuated, and this is the thing that came out from his time when he was over at the Citadel. He is infatuated with understanding life after death, the thing that clings on after you die. What is it that hangs on in there? And that is what made him create the zombie mountain. That is what made him create that. And once he's created this kind of prototype, and that's what I honestly think the zombie mountain is, a prototype, he is then going to start rolling that out to other people. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that could be either other humans or that, who knows what. There is a huge a theory out there. I know Talking Thrones has talked about this, about what happens if he one of his ballistas shoots down a dragon. Is he going to be able to bring that back as like a zombie dragon? I don't know. But what we've seen is just the start. That's the one thing I'm convinced of. He is not going to stop with the zombie mountain. That is just the prototype. What happens in season 8 is going to be him rolling out his understanding of what it means to have life after death.
Yeah. Now, do you think his motivation for wanting to figure out, you know, if there is an afterlife and wanting to basically, do you think it comes from him being a scientist, or do you think it comes with an infatuation of trying to make it so that he can live? Because, you know, you mentioning that theory of them taking out a dragon and then reanimating it, as freaking amazing as it would be to have each side, like, you know, Dany and Jon, the Night King, Cersei, each side have their own dragon. I don't know. But it did get me thinking, what if he's able to kill like a White Walker? Those usually shatter when you take them out. But what if he's able to get enough? Maybe he's able to get one of the creatures that the Night King has a hold of, and like they're taken out, and he's able to reanimate it. I think what may be a serious option is when the Golden Company comes over with these elephants. What if one of them dies in battle, and then they're taken back, and Qyburn is able to reanimate that, making it all the more loyal? I don't know. That would be insane. That would be insane. But one of my theories that I mentioned in that video that I referenced earlier was that he may turn a smaller portion of her army. So in the final battle, you could have Jon Snow, him being a Fire White, and then also, you know, you have Beric Dondarrion and whoever else dies on Jon's side that could be resurrected by Melisandre, fighting against Cersei and Qyburn, and they have, you know, these undead, super loyal soldiers for Cersei, and then you also have the Night King with his army of the dead. So this final battle is just a bunch of undead people. Now, another option would be is if Cersei herself is taken out, Qyburn would 100% not animate or not hesitate to reanimate her. I think that may be his ultimate goal, is that he knows that if he can get close enough to Cersei, she's acting extremely reckless, and Qyburn is almost enabling her recklessness by providing her with, you know, these weapons and this knowledge of life after the undead. His ultimate goal may be to put Cersei as one of his puppets. And like you said, the Mountain is one of Qyburn's undead, one of his prototypes. So it makes sense if, you know, he practiced that and he almost perfected it with the Mountain, that when he has Cersei, she may even be able to communicate somewhat. I don't know. That would be pretty insane going into this next season. But as far as in game, do you think that, you know, since he does have this obsession with life after death and he's, you know, an ex-maester, do you think he may try to get some sort of revenge against the maesters, like putting on our tinfoil cats here? Do you think that he may try, if Cersei is successful in some of her plans, do you think he may suggest to her that since he is her hand of the queen, that maybe she should do something about these maesters who may try to retaliate since they killed Pycelle? Do you think that may be something that comes up? I know we only have 6 episodes left, but this could also, you know, maybe fit in there somewhere.
No, I don't think so. I think that what he's about is not revenge. He is the mad scientist. If you think of Baron Frankenstein, that is who he is. He is the guy who is just focused on his own, pardon me, his own area of study. And his area of study is what happens after death. What is it about the human spirit that survives after death? And that is the thing that he is focused on. Now, he will carry on doing his experiments, and he will do what Cersei wants because she is giving him the resources he needs. And so she will say, I need to have soldiers, and he will provide her with soldiers. She will say, I need a way to fight the dragons. We've already seen he provided the scorpion. He provided the way to fight against the dragons. That is what he's about. He's not about revenge. I honestly don't think he cares too much about the Citadel anymore. I think what he cares about is his research. And I've said this so many times on different live streams all over the place. If we're talking about a bittersweet, non-Disney ending, not all of the bad guys will die. Some of the bad guys will survive. Out of all of the bad guys that we think of, who is the most likely to survive? I think Qyburn is the most likely to be able to slink off and carry on his research somewhere else. So I don't think he's about revenge. I think he's about carrying on his research and carrying on his understanding of what it means to be alive and what it means to be dead.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the, like, whether we like him and who he chooses to ally himself with, he's definitely one of the most important people to go into this, trying this new world that's going to be happening after the end of Game of Thrones. Like, I definitely think that some of the major guaranteed survivors are going to be people who are not active in the battle. So Cersei, Qyburn, Sam, you could even argue Bran, since he's going to probably do most of his fighting from the Godswood and Winterfell. Certain people like Sansa that just aren't in the dead heap of it have a better chance of surviving. It just makes sense. Like those type, the meek shall inherit the earth kind of thing. Do you think that, now not necessarily revenge against the Maesters, but do you think that there's a chance that we could see them again? Like how do you, I don't know. I mean, Pycelle was a Grand Maester, so there should be some sort of recoil. I know in this show anyway that there doesn't seem to be too much that you have to pay for when you do something. Like back in the earlier seasons, when a character took a certain action, there would be consequences to pay for it. Now in season 6 and season 7, those consequences don't seem to exist. I think with Sam spending the time that he did with at the Citadel last season, I think and then he just stole off and took out in the middle of the night, like basically stole a bunch of the books. They have to be brought back in somehow, even if it is like a brief mention. And we could just see, like, I don't know, maybe Euron attacking them and trying to get some knowledge they hold there, or like maybe the plans to some weapons, or just a way to defeat the Night King. And then he finds out that Sam took the one book or something. Do you think that the Maesters are going to be brought back in? And do you think Qyburn's going to be linked to that storyline somehow?
Yeah, I'm not convinced about that. So the season before last, Sam took the Valyrian steel heartsbane, the Valyrian steel sword that belonged to his family. And we didn't see anything from Randall Tarley trying to recapture it. And the showrunners seem to be okay with this idea that at this late stage in the story, people get away with stuff. So Sam is now taking some books away from the Citadel and going north. And I think they'll just go, well, whatever. That's just going to happen. In the books, yes, there's going to be huge amounts of stuff going on in the Citadel. I think you're right. I think there's a huge sea battle happening outside there. I think Euron's got a whole load of stuff going on there. It wouldn't surprise me if the whole place gets burned down to the ground. In the show, no, I think the focus is very much going to be on what happens when the army of the dead, when the Night King comes south. Where does he go? First of all, he goes to Winterfell, and then he goes across to King's Landing, probably because that's where the focus has been in the show. I can't see that there's anything for the Night King to be wanting over in the Reach and all the way down to Old Town. So as much as I would love the Maesters and the Citadel to be involved in season 8, I don't think, maybe there will be a little bit of a cameo, but I don't think it's going to be a major thing in any way, shape or form.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's just kind of my fanboy hopes of wanting to see something more with the Maesters. I think that they're definitely up to some shit, not just in the books, but also in the TV show. I don't know. I think that just getting sort of back on track with Qyburn here, do you think that there's a possibility that maybe Gregor's taken down and he has to reanimate him again? Do you think that, maybe if he's not able to reanimate him again, do you think that that's going to be his ultimate downfall? Like maybe the Mountain is protecting Cersei and Qyburn, and obviously whoever's coming to fight Cersei and Qyburn, mainly Cersei, don't really care whether they live or die, and then like maybe the Mountain is taken out. Do you think, I guess what I'm getting at is, do you think there's something special with the reanimation of the Mountain?
Well, always love a bit of tinfoil, but as far as I'm concerned, the Mountain is going to stay right next to Cersei. That's where he's been for the last couple of seasons, and that's where he's going to remain throughout season 8. So his role is going to be the last line of defense for whoever is coming for Cersei, and we know that people are coming for Cersei. The Hound is definitely going for the Mountain. Arya is going to go for Cersei. Jaime is going to, I think, certainly in the books, I hope in the show, but I have a feeling perhaps not, is going to have some kind of final showdown with Cersei. In any way, shape or form, this season has to end with a confrontation with Cersei. I think Qyburn is clever. He might be evil, but he is clever. And I think that he will realize that the moment that somebody takes down the Mountain, that means that the last line of defense for Cersei, his benefactor, has gone, and I think that's the moment that he will scarper. He's not going to try and reanimate the Mountain, because that's the moment at which he knows that the game is up. He will understand what are the routes out of King's Landing, and he will head out of King's Landing at that point. I don't think he's going to spend the time trying to reanimate this prototype. He's got his knowledge in his head. He'll pick up a few books, whatever he needs, and he'll head out of there, and we're not going to see him again.
All right, so I like those thoughts on that, Robert. Just adding some more tinfoil here, and I guess we'll sort of wrap this video up. Do you think that, Qyburn is technically the hand of the queen? Cersei was given this prophecy, and it was taken out of the show, but that, the Valonqar prophecy ends with her being strangled by her little brother. Now, obviously, Qyburn's not her little brother. Do you think that there's a possibility that maybe since he's her hand, there may be some foreshadowing in him killing Cersei? And I know this goes opposite of what you were just saying there, but do you think there's a possibility of him killing Cersei to maybe show that he's willing to be loyal to his next group of people that he can jump on with which may be Jon and Daenerys? Like maybe they have them prisoner because they don't want to full out kill Cersei. They want to put her through a trial and basically make her sit in a cell before she dies, because dying is too easy of an escape for her. Do you think maybe Qyburn can sort of like, jump on that? Like, I was forced to do all these things, otherwise she would have killed me. She's the crazy one. Do you see him doing doing something like that? Or do you think that he's going to go down with the ship? Or, well, I know you mentioned that he's going to escape, but do you think if there's no chance for him to escape, that he would be okay with dying with her, like with remaining loyal to her? Or do you think he'll try to fight?
Yeah, he's not loyal to her. And I could sort of see him doing the "I was just obeying orders" line, but no, the people who are likely to kill Cersei, if we're just going like in terms of the narrative and where story arcs are going, Arya has to end this in King's Landing, because her story arc right from the beginning has been about who's on her kill list. And on the show, there are two people left on her kill list, the Mountain and Cersei. And so she has to be there at the end with those two. Jaime, personally, I think, should be there at the end with Cersei, because there are so many lines in the books about them both saying, we came into the world together, we have to leave this world together. I think that is where he has to end. I think that there's a very good chance that the Hound gets put down into this Clegane Bowl, but I think that his story arc has to end with him facing up against the Mountain. And as I said, the Mountain is not going to be leaving Cersei's side. So those three, or some combination of them, maybe with some others, are going to end up in King's Landing facing up against Cersei and the Mountain and Qyburn. Qyburn is not a fighter. the Jaime will know what his role has been. So if Jaime survives, then Qyburn will realize that people know who he is and what he's been doing. So if Qyburn survives to that point, and I think he will realize the game is up, and then he's going to scarp it. I cannot see any chance that he is going to just sit there and put his hands up and say, you know what, it's a cop. You got me. I was just a loyalist to Cersei. I was doing what she said. I can't see that actually ever happening.
Well, following on with your train of thought that he's not loyal to her, technically having the Mountain, which is his creation, loyal to Cersei 100% that can't be right, because if he's not loyal to Cersei, there's no way. There's got to be some sort of failsafe plan. Whereas he's got it. I mean, there's magic in the show. It's the TV world. Not everything is going to be explained, but maybe it's to the point where he follows Cersei's orders, but only because Qyburn is telling him to do this. So maybe it comes to a situation where Qyburn's done something treacherous, and Cersei's like, why would you do that? Mountain, kill Qyburn. Qyburn could, and like I said, the tinfoil cap should have remained on full in this video, but maybe Qyburn's like, haha, gotcha, bitch. And then, the Mountain kills Cersei. I don't know. But with that being said, I want to thank you all so much for watching. Real quick before we get out of here, check out a link to my GoFundMe and also a link to an Amazon wish list. I'm trying to do big things on this channel. So if you want to become part of that movement, go ahead and check that out. Robert, before we end this, do you want to tell everyone where they can find you at and maybe what some next projects that you have coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. I would encourage people, first of all, Mark is amazing. Go look at his GoFundMe page. Go help him out, because he's got big plans for this channel, and I really would love people to support him in that. As for me, please just check out my channel, In Deep Geek. If you like Game of Thrones, if you like A Song of Ice and Fire, and you want to go a little bit deeper, if you want to understand some of the things that were going on underneath the skin that we see, then please do check that one out. And my second channel is The Well Told Tale. It's basically just me reading audiobooks. If that appeals to you, and I've started with a few classics. We're going to go with The War of the Worlds, then we're going to go with Frankenstein, and it's long form. It's each episode is at least 45 minutes long, and we're just doing them one a week. And if that appeals to you, please do check out The Well Told Tale. And that's pretty much it. That's my plug.
All right, awesome. Thanks again for joining me. And all those are going to be linked down below in the description, so make sure you go check those out. I want to thank everyone so much for watching. If you could please slap a like on this video, the like goal will be 420. Also, make sure you leave us a comment and let us know your thoughts and predictions on Qyburn going into Game of Thrones Season 8. My name's Mark, and this has been Sir Hunts. Thanks again, Robert. Reviews. Super secret Easter egg here. Robert doesn't even know about this, but I recently have been gaining traction in that GoFundMe, so a super special thank you to Michael Williams, Schuler Raid, Vic Olmo, Nancy Toxstein, Michael Ilgus, and Jennifer Malatiknok. I'm sorry if I mispronounced any of y'all's names, but a big shout out and super special thank you to all of y'all. Long night.